Okay, here we are working problem 13, and for this problem we're preparing a balance sheet. So balance sheet, assets, liabilities, stockholders' equity, that's it. No other accounts go on there. In this example, we have some accounts and their balances listed. Not all of them go on the balance sheet. I'm sure this will be the case with any exam you take. You'll have a little few distractor things on there to make sure you really understand what goes on which statement. So for the balance sheet, we want only assets, only liabilities, and only stockholders' equity. So let's just go through the list and figure out what they are. Vehicle expense. Well, that's an expense. Expenses go on the income statement and only the income statement. So we're not going to worry about that. Draw a line through it. Consulting fees earned. Fees earned, that's a revenue, goes on the income statement and only the income statement. Accounts receivable, that's an asset. We want that. Accounts payable, that's a liability. We want that. Cash, that's an asset. Let's keep that for our balance sheet. Capital stock, that's the stockholders' equity account. Let's put that on the balance sheet. Land, asset, let's put it on the balance sheet. Supplies expense. No, that's an expense. It goes on the income statement and only the income statement. Supplies, however, the supplies themselves are assets. So let's put them on our balance sheet. And retained earnings, that's a stockholders' equity account. So let's hold on to that. All right, we figured it out. Of course, this is not a classified balance sheet. This is from way back when we only knew chapters 1 and 2. So we're not going to separate this balance sheet into current assets and property, plant, and equipment, current liabilities, long-term liabilities, because it's just asking for a balance sheet. It's from way back when we didn't know any better. But when you take a final, look for that word classified balance sheet, because they probably are going to ask you to separate those into current and other assets and current and other liabilities. But this would be pretty straightforward. On the balance sheet, we put assets in terms of liquidity. So cash would be most liquid, then receivables, then supplies, then land. So we'll do our assets first. And here I've got my Moriarty Consulting Company balance sheet. So let me just write down my assets. Cash, which was $462,000, right? And accounts receivable, $32,000. Then supplies, $8,000, and finally land, which was $50,000. So my total assets equals, all these totaled, $552,000. Alright, so assets on the left. Now we're going to do our liabilities and stockholders' equity on the right. Sometimes people do them all in a row, and that's fine too. So next we need our liabilities. And we just had one, accounts payable, and it was $100,000. And of course, you would in a classified, you would separate out your long-term notes and bonds. In this case, we'll just go ahead and put total liabilities 100. Right. All right. Next is stockholders' equity. And we only have two things here, capital stock and retained earnings. So the capital stock was 300. And the retained earnings is 152. Right, and I'll add those for total stockholders' equity being 452, and total liabilities plus stockholder equity is 552,000. And we balance, so we're great. All right, well, good luck with that next time you do that.